He was, to me, the most memorable person I've ever seen pass away.
It was.
He called all his friends and family to hospice where he was at.
Powerful.
And he spoke to them and said, please, please, please stop doing things you're doing and follow God.
Ladies and gentlemen, dogs and fleas, pull up a chair and sit on your knees. We have a story to tell you that we are still learning about. Welcome to Talk the Walk. My name is Henry Moses.
I'm Jared Morland.
I'm Gabriel Moses.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We are bada bing, bada boom, super happy to be here. And thank you for joining us today, wherever you might be.
Wherever you might be. Happy Holy Week, fellas. We're gonna timestamp a little bit today. We're gonna we normally try to avoid it because Holy Father Dr. Barfield.
That's the gong when you say his name.
Oh, okay. The gong.
Yeah.
The Barfield gong.
Yep.
The bar gong.
You're the sound effects guy. I like it.
Yeah. He's gonna be saying holy bad words. Calling you holy bad names.
I know it.
Every time you do that. But so normally we would try not to timestamp, but this is a good week to timestamp.
Yeah.
We kind of
And it's our own fault.
We don't really do schedules on the topics we're going to do. We've talked about it a million times, so we really need to do that.
We do.
So that we can actually do an Easter podcast on time, right? And have it actually come out when
But our 100th episode kind of gets in the way.
Well, I guess that's true.
Dare we say that we prioritized wrong?
No, we
just didn't really time it right.
We didn't time it.
If we'd have started a week earlier,
it could have been Easter.
Yeah.
No, the 100th episode comes out the day after Easter.
The day after Easter.
So,
the day after,
Oh, so we could have been. So we could have still had because we really should have had Easter podcast come out the Monday before Easter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And talk,
like that's what a professional podcast would do.
Professionals.
But we've said a million times we're not professionals around here.
And sometimes it hurts.
So for us, we're recording this 2 days before Easter.
Yep. On Good Friday.
And what's Easter all about, right? Easter eggs, bunnies.
You can't even say it without laughing.
It does. So I was at the airport dropping Sadie off. And it was really cool. Like they had a couple of their offices all decorated up for Easter, and they had all these Easter eggs.
They who?
The airport.
The airport. Okay.
And they had little eggs all over the doors, and then they had like a Easter wreath on the door with a rabbit's rear end sticking out like it was going down the hole, like the wreath.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, clever.
And then they had a cool garland, Easter garland, very bright colored and with all the bright lights going around the door. So very fun.
Yeah.
Nothing about Christ at all.
No.
And so I was sitting there, speaking of Easter eggs, just kind of
a little miffed.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm like, it's so crazy.
How deep people get into
it's nuts, and how distracted people get away from the actual meaning.
You would say how deep people get into the shallow end.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't say it's a shallow.
Yeah.
Neck deep in the shallow end.
Neck deep in the shallow end.
That was good.
I see what you did there.
Good. Yeah.
That's good.
How deep you get. Yeah, that's a great description though, because people think they're getting deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
They're only so deep you can get in the shallow end.
So if you tell them, hey, can you stand? You tell them, and they're in the shallow end, they're neck deep, and you say, hey, stand up.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
drowning,
and it's at their waist, and you're like, bro.
Yeah,
bro. We got.
So do y'all get into the Easter eggs?
The shallow
What
end?
do y'all do?
We do.
Oh, so
do you, Jared?
So today's topic, we're going to have a shallow end and a deep end.
Do you and Angel hide eggs for each other to go out and find? Y'all take turns?
No, David's outgrown that. But Saturday we're going to our in-laws' house or my brother-in-law's house, and they have little kids. So, we're going to hide Easter eggs for the little kids, and they get amped up.
Which it is fun. I'm not going to say it's not fun. I still think it's kind of cool if you have the time to sit down and nowadays they take those plastic eggs.
Yeah, I was going to say nobody even decorates an egg anymore.
I'm gonna jump in on it because our little sister Rebecca, we call her Boo. She was telling me on the phone. She and I got to goofing off while I should have been working. I called her and we were talking, and she said that they have an indoor. Her husband, and their 2 kids who are well into.
They do it inside their house.
Yeah, so I was gonna say they do it inside their house, and she said that they get so wild about it.
My little sister does that too. But anyway, go ahead.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's a small world.
No, it's nuts.
Shallow end. So they run each other over sometimes. Boo said that her husband ran her over trying to get to one of these eggs.
Wow.
And knocked her out of the way in the fun of this Easter egg hunt indoors. So they get wild. That's how they do it.
But
why do they do it indoor? They live out in the country.
You'd have to ask. Well, but you imagine how many more places there are to hide an egg inside than outside.
True. So, but back to what you were saying. I don't think anybody's boiling eggs and decorating them anymore.
Do it. That was the fun thing when we were kids.
Is that the way to do it, Henry?
Oh yeah, that's the way.
Is it the way?
It's the way.
It's the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These little dumb plastic ones with the chocolate candies. Come on, man. That's not fun. Now it's more fun to eat.
You know what?
It's more fun.
When the kids get older, you got to put money in the eggs.
Eggs are better for you than the chocolates. And
you got to recognize that. What's the way? Eggs? Seriously?
This is the way.
No, eggs?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
I wonder when that tradition that you think is the way started. And now it's,
hey,
what's the difference between
don't be trying to get serious, bro.
No, it's because the stone that was rolled away was actually in the shape of an egg.
It's a huge egg. Yes.
Stop it.
That's where graffiti came from. They started tagging the stone.
That's why it stayed in place so well, because it was kind of that oval.
You guys are so.
And so it was a big deal that the egg got rolled.
They laid it on the long end, so you couldn't get it up on the tip.
You couldn't just roll it. Yeah.
Y'all got to be nice here because I'm the most gullible person on the planet, and I'm actually sitting here wondering if there's any truth in this.
If it was oval around,
y'all just made all that crap junk up, right?
Well, they didn't have a water jet back then.
It's how we roll.
That's how we roll. Do you think that there's no way it could have been perfectly round?
They could have chipped it away with that chisel.
They chipped it into the form of an egg.
Yes.
I'm done. No, I'm not that gullible. I have to ask, why would they do that? I'm like, if it happened by chance, all right. So you can't get
So no, I don't know. But I'm just saying it's more fun when you get to dye the egg.
The old tradition was better.
It's cool. Like you take the time, mama boil them.
Dude, we have
all that.
6 kids.
Then we dip. Yeah, they do their own. Mom had 5.
No, she did. Look at
You
that.
know?
But sure. But man,
Now there are still people that decorate eggs. Have you seen?
Yeah, but we were in sports.
No, but have you seen? So fun fact, trivia, or worthless information. But there's a really popular tool available now called the Amazing Egg Decorator
Brother,
Kit.
if they're not sponsoring us, they don't get
Hold
free
on.
air.
No, this is cool. This is cool. So this is like a worldwide product now.
All right, tell me again. I was busy making a joke.
So
tell me again
it's called the Amazing Egg Decorator Kit. So you buy this kit and it'll hold your egg like a lathe, and then you can spin it on a battery powered deal and decorate it.
Oh, that's cool.
It was invented and created by 2 brothers in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh,
They
too bad it wasn't up.
and then they went on Shark Tank and got a deal, but it's now like it's in Walmart, Amazon. It doesn't matter where you go. You can buy this kit.
yeah, they were from Amarillo.
Yes, they still live in Amarillo.
But think about
The guy's name, I think, is Curtis McGill. He's an entrepreneur. He's in some restaurants and things like that.
You can no longer say, does anything good come from Amarillo?
That's right.
You can't say that.
I mean, if you Google EGGM, it's the #1 deal, and it's just, look at that.
Well, that's awesome.
But you got to think that's once a year. I'm like, how does that? That's once a year
Yeah, but
of painting eggs.
Yeah,
But I guess it's enough.
At $20 a pop, and probably 1 million people buy it a year.
True.
Yeah.
True.
man, that's cool.
That is crazy.
So, do you still decorate eggs? I mean, you got little ones at home. Do y'all still do eggs?
It's hit and miss. We have a couple of times, but we also do the plastic egg. And
Put money in them and
so-
stuff like that.
So here's what, it's so funny. We decided,
shame.
Carrie and I went over this yesterday, and we said there's going to be 120 eggs, and basically 30% of them are going to have cash money in them, and the other 70 are going to have candy, and about 20% of those eggs will have $2 bills in them, because Carrie's dad did a lot of fun stuff with $2, gave them $2 bill stuff. So, and then the rest will have like $1, something like that. So that's the new.
Ain't nothing cool about that. It's so boring and lazy. Progressive.
Oh, because they're not decorating eggs.
Don't you ever apply that word to my family.
So what I would love to do with kids,
my brother and his progressive family.
and there's still some people that buy the confetti eggs so you can let the kids crack it on your head. But I always thought it'd be funny is get an egg, decorate it, tell them it's a confetti egg, but it not been boiled. They go crack it on daddy's head. Crack.
Getting mean about it. We love those confetti eggs. That happened one year, and it's so funny. The adults jump in on that.
Yeah.
And
that is.
Oh
fun.
man, it gets
a little crazy,
rowdy.
Yeah,
you're gonna see
especially
people running who haven't ran in years.
So we work in the lending industry, so we work with a lot of realtors, and we work with Keller Williams here in town. And they had a...
Oh, what? They're not paying for this promotion. What's this?
True. I'm trying to talk serious here. Can you just calm down?
Wow. Oh, so if it's serious, we can promote. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to act like a mature person.
I don't know about that.
Like your big brother.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You've not ever taught me that.
So do as I say, not as I do.
Recognize the head of the table.
Monkey see, monkey do.
So you're actually at the head of the table.
True. Yeah.
Where you're sitting.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny.
Acknowledge me.
Bunnies.
Yeah.
All this Easter bunny stuff, we be rabbit
but I'm the
trailing a
end
lot.
boss. Huh? I'm the end boss.
There you go.
You'll find out on WrestleMania. We're getting all kinds of bunny trail, but we are talking
You
about
just missed
eggs.
what I said.
That's what he said. We're rabbit trailing.
Oh, so great minds.
Bunnies, rabbit. No.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, you heard me say it, and it was mine.
No.
Yeah, your mind got it from me.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You already used your bright spot earlier, and when you said on the deep end of the shallow.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say as you were trying to get serious?
Well, so I didn't actually get to go to it, but one of our ladies, Nicole, wonderful lady, she and all these bright ideas. She put on an Easter egg hunt for the Keller Williams agents, and from the sounds of it, I'm like, man, I wish I would have been there for that. That sounds. They went nuts trying to find the eggs, and if you think about it, like we all like to, we're grown, we're just joking about being mature.
Grown ups,
like,
we're grown.
But when it gets down to it,
still a kid,
man. We love to have fun.
We want to go out there and do the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah,
you're darn right.
But it might get a little violent.
It could.
Like, because you want to.
These are big bodies that we're throwing around. Kids will run into each other trying to get but they're small and pliable.
Mm-hmm.
We're not small or pliable, really.
No.
At this point in our life.
No, when I hit the ground, I stick the landing. Like, I leave a hole in the ground when I hit.
There ain't no bounce.
No.
Bones break. I mean.
When you see little kids running across the street or down a sidewalk, doesn't it just not make you cringe now? Because all you can see is don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall.
When they're running,
when like little kids are running wide open down asphalt or concrete, it just makes me cringe.
It makes me jealous.
It makes me jealous too.
I get a little
when
jealous.
they just jump off stuff.
Yes,
like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Their knees and feet don't hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Now even the hips a little.
One more quick question. I think it's ironic. So in our family, we always do a family dinner, and it's always been ham, baked beans, scalloped potatoes. I just think it's ironic that we have pork on Easter when, for a while, that was kind of a forbidden meat in the Bible, but now we celebrate eating.
We're Christians.
I know, but I'm just thinking it's funny that's the meal. It's like, this is just proof that we can eat pork.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, good point.
Ham's just the thing. I mean, I don't know of anybody that's not eating ham.
Is that why y'all
Easter.
making ham on?
Pork tenderloin.
See?
Pork tenderloin.
We're Christian, and we're so Christian, we're having pork on Easter Sunday.
That's right. It's called freedom.
Interesting.
Freedom.
So on that note, I enjoyed the shallow end, but let me ask y'all this. We're kicking off Holy Week, and again, we're time stamping a little bit, but
we're not kicking off. We're at the end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
we're on the back end of Holy Week, we should say. Holy Weekend. How about that?
Yeah, it is.
For us, it's Good Friday right now. For those that are listening, and it's really, man, we've had some kind of thick discussions on our Talking the Walk text string throughout the week. It's been a very interesting conversation, and you can kind of see the depth that it's hitting all of us.
That charge led by Jared and Miles.
Yeah.
Putting out some pretty
deep stuff.
Yeah. We're going to quit talking about Easter eggs now.
So as we start Holy Week, Jared, you had some thoughts, and so do you have that open in front of you? I'm going to let you go ahead and.
Yeah. So it all started, we had our men's group on Sunday, and I wanted to just really kick off Holy Week. And we started talking about Palm Sunday, and just the visual of Jesus riding in on a colt, the waving of the palm trees. If you want to see something kind of cool, Google or YouTube, Steve Harvey introduces Jesus. It's kind of phenomenal. So I have this visual of, in our world with concerts and all this stuff, you have smoke and these grand entrances of wrestling, entrance music. Oh, yeah. And I think of Palm Sunday as Jesus rolling in on the colt like it's go time. Like everything for 33 years has led up.
Way to look at it. Moment. So kind of like when the UFC fighters are coming out.
Yes.
Like they're announcing them, they're doing all this stuff, and the music's going.
Yeah, Palm Sunday.
Because Jesus is kind of stepping into the ring at
Here
that
comes
moment.
the fight.
Yeah. Like it's go time. And so I thought, what's going through his mind, and how can we take that perspective and apply it personally? And here was my thought. And I would ask you to this. You have 1 week to live. It's go time. You have 1 week to live.
Which could be true right now, and we don't even know it. But anyway,
let's assume
we actually know.
We know. Okay, we know that we have 1 week to live. You know you're going to die. Matter of fact, you know you're going to die on Friday.
Okay, all right.
And even more so, you're going to die by murder. And how are you going to spend your final week? Honestly, what would you do? We know what Jesus did, but what would you do? That's what I'd ask us. And taking into account that statement, you know who's responsible for your murder.
Hold on. Let's do the first one first, because I think these can be too fun.
Okay, so how are you going to spend your final week? You know you're going to die, and you're going to die by murder. Yeah. So let's just talk about Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll transition on Thursday. Let's talk about what are we going to do up to Thursday.
Okay. Man, I'm so curious because Gabe and I, because we work together, and so we got this, and so we kind of started bouncing it back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love it because if we're going to do something on this podcast, one thing we are going to do, we're not going to be right 100% of the time, so that's not something we're going to do.
Right.
But what we are going to do always on this podcast is try to represent the Lord the best we can first, and we're going to be honest. Yeah. We're going to be real. So I'm looking forward to, Gabe and I talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
What our answers would be.
Well, I was encouraged that, Gabe, you said you even took this, and we can get into this. You took this to your family. Like,
yeah,
I did it at my Wednesday marriage group. I've done it with my family. This has been a great thing.
It needs to be presented. It's a good question.
Yeah,
in so many ways, I'm going to jump probably ahead a little here, but just in so many ways, that is everybody's moment right now.
Yeah.
Right now, each one of us, and anybody who's involved in this conversation by listening or is here, that is the truth right now. You might not be here tomorrow. So that's a hard thing.
But you know you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You know how you're going to die. How are you going to spend your final week?
Right.
Just Gabe. Yeah. Don't go into, you might minister to a bunch of people. My answer is not going to be as well crafted. It's not going to impress you much at all.
Yeah. Just being real. Like
I'm going to be real. I'll tell you. We've got I love my family. I love my family a lot. My family's big.
But there's a but coming.
No. I mean, and this is just going to sound like the church. It is going to sound like the church. I'm like the church answer, whatever, call it what you want. But I'm like, I've known all my life where I'm going. And I've seen, you remember that play Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames that
yeah.
Trinity Fellowship put on. The part was so profound to me when the old lady was going up the stairs and she was decrepit and she just could barely walk, right? And she had died and she was walking up those stairs and there's Jesus waiting on her. And he said, "Welcome, good and faithful servant." And she throws off the little cape thing that an old lady wears back in the day. And she was suddenly healed and good and welcomed into heaven. That hit me so hard. I was like, this is profound to me. It is. This is where, that's the words that we are all waiting to hear. Mm-hmm. Welcome, good and faithful servant. Good and faithful, that you were with me and you spoke the truth to people who really, really didn't like the truth. And so I, for my week, I was, we were talking about it and I was like, you know what I do? Henry and I were talking about it at work and I was like, I'd probably I'd tell my family I want to meet with them the day before. Please don't be late.
The day before you die.
The day before I die.
Okay. But don't hone in on that because we're going to talk about the day before you die here in just a minute.
Okay. Right on. Interesting. So I'm curious. I'm very curious now, but I'm like, I would want to meet with them and spend a little time with them before. But for those 4 or 5 days before that, I'm like, I'd probably try to see in what way I could get as much message out there as I could about who Jesus is and why he did it. Mm-hmm. Why he did what he did, why he came and died.
Well, good for you.
And don't be a hater. Don't even. Okay, I'll tell y'all something else since he's pushing me.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm proud of you. That's not how my 4 days is going. I'm just telling you.
I told you, jerk.
I know. I'm like, no.
Oh, holy one.
Oh, but let's check this out, y'all.
Yeah,
when
Jared's
I
like,
no.
gaslighter.
When I walked in Henry's house today, I got excited. And I told Jared, I'm fasting. He goes, "You're not supposed to say that."
And that's all he's talked about since.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And so don't you judge me about trying.
I'm not judging you. I'm just saying I'm proud of you because I'm like going to max out some credit cards. I'm going to get down. I'm going to have some drinks. I'm going to cook some food. And because like I said on another podcast, I don't know that there's pellet smokers in heaven. So I'm going to get one last use out of my pellet smoker.
So you would do that the whole week?
No, I don't know, but I'm just going to have a blast. I'm not, if I'm being honest, I'm going to have a day before I die discussion with my family, but I ain't doing it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, Thursday's a different discussion in a minute, but yeah, I'm just going to hang out and
Jared, I gotta just be real, man. I can't believe that.
I was about to say.
You're
I don't
not
believe
that
for a
you're
second.
not.
I'm sorry. I don't
can't
believe that
believe
for a
that.
second. I was going to say the same
your
thing.
heart is so. You love people.
Yeah. You love the
You've
Lord.
not shown that in your life. I don't. I'm like. I don't.
Not to say you wouldn't cook out.
I like that thought, but
we're both telling Jared we know him better than he knows himself.
I just can't believe that.
I'm going to cook out on Thursday. Okay. I'm going to have everybody over for a meal on Thursday, which we're going to talk about. But, I don't know how it would go knowing I'm going to die. The temptation would be when my mom found out she was going to die and she wasn't going to live, but maybe a few weeks or months, she kind of just settled into that. And I don't want to say she gave up. She didn't give up, but I was like, "Hey mom, let's go sit on the front porch one last time. Let's go do this."
The same place that you are.
Yeah. Well, she did give her life to the Lord, but she just kind of was like, I'm not going to go sit on the porch. She was a smoker, but she couldn't smoke in the hospital. It's amazing. She quit smoking once she knew she had cancer. It's like she quit smoking for like 2 months. I was like, "Mom, this is it. You want to go outside and have a cigarette?" No, I don't want. I'm like, "Why?" I mean, you're done. Like, let's spark up. But I don't know.
But see, your mom wasn't healthy.
No,
like this was putting ourselves kind of in the same place that Christ was. That's the whole idea. So he wasn't unhealthy. He knew he was going to be murdered. So he was going to be healthy up to the point of that.
Now I'll share with you. Someone in our Wednesday group said he didn't think physically or emotionally, like the nervous breakdown, like Jesus sweat drops of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know that we would make it. We would die of a heart attack knowing you're going to be murdered. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty interesting perspective. Like, we may not even make it, but if we did, could we live like no big deal?
That is a rough, like 'cause
he did.
You've got the whole week knowing you're going to be murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, do you even fully know how you're going to be murdered? So that's a good point. I don't want to dive too deep into that.
Well,
but
yeah.
you know you're going to be murdered. There ain't nothing fun about that. Whatever way the murder's going to happen, if it's, what would you say? Probably the easiest way is a bullet to the head.
Well, I think what we do, we would.
I don't
Yeah.
even think about that.
Well, we would honestly, I'd probably hide. I'd be like, if I could prevent it, like, I ain't stepping out of my house. Somebody's got a sniper on my front door. I'm
you
closing
remember
all
that
the
movie
blinds.
Final Destination?
Yeah.
And they were like trying to prevent.
Yeah.
It was a movie where
To dodge death.
death was hunting people
Yeah.
down that should have died on a plane crash. And so I'm not endorsing the movie, but it was an interesting concept. But anyway, that'd be Jared. They're all trying to
hide from it.
Yeah, like your
Jared's
blinds.
like, I'm spending this week.
Yeah, like your blinds have a little crack in them right there. I'm like, bro, can we cover that up?
Yeah, the sniper's going to be pointing that little.
There's a red dot on your face, Jared.
Yeah.
So you think though that you would just spend the week
Yeah.
barbecuing, grilling out?
It didn't, if I'm just being honest, I mean, I probably would share the gospel, but I don't know what my urgency would be like. I'd be wanting to try to get some stuff checked off the bucket list. Like if I had never been to do something, I'm like, man, I'm gonna go get this done because this is the last chance I got.
I'll tell you this. We had a friend who passed away, Mike Edwards, a long time ago, and he had melanoma cancer.
Which he got saved at that Heaven's Gates and Hell Flames. By the way.
Did he?
Just
See, I didn't know.
I was thinking about that when you.
This was decades ago, a couple decades ago, and he was to me the most memorable person I've ever seen pass away.
It was.
He called all his
Yeah.
friends and family to hospice where he was at,
Powerful.
and he spoke to them and said, "Please, please, please stop doing things you're doing and follow God. Follow God."
Yeah.
Ask Jesus into your heart and to be the Lord of your life. Please, please.
Well, how many times do
It was
you go to a
amazing.
funeral of a close friend or a loved one, and everybody's so vulnerable in that moment? I've officiated funerals, attended funerals, and the older I get, the more funerals I go to. It's crazy how that happens, but everybody always kind of hangs around afterwards, and they're gonna start spending more time together as families, and they're gonna get things right, and they're gonna do things better, and then it just kind of all fades away. That's what I love that we're talking about Holy Week, and we timestamp this, is we can't let what happened during Holy Week fade from our memory and get complacent, because that's what happens. We just get too used and comfortable in life. But what would you do your final week?
Henry.
Man, so I can't
Be careful. You might be judged.
This is actually it won't be the first or the last time. Like bring it, and that's one of the fun things of this podcast.
Well, that's how I'm trying to.
So judge away. You tell me
I'm
what
trying
you
to
think.
cover my.
But I actually have
Lousy week.
Before I dive into it, I have one question. Have y'all thought about this before in the past? Because I actually have in the past, from time to time, thought if I knew I had a month left to live.
I always thought a year for
know,
whatever reason.
But I never thought about it from the
or
fact.
a year or whatever time. But you just kind of, I mean, as a Christian, what would that look like? And I do think, like, I imagine for whatever weird reason, I don't know why I choose this particular spot in my mind, but where Western Plaza used to be, off Western and I-40 here in Amarillo. For those that don't live in Amarillo, it's just off I-40, busy highway. There's a kind of a strip mall type thing. And so I just imagine myself for some reason in that spot, like walking up and talking to people and handing out tracts and talking with them about the Lord and being able and okay with accepting
Whatever they
any
think.
kind of verbal abuse that they're going to dish my way. I know my time.
You're going to a new level with the boldness in your faith.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think
Which makes us feel silly.
I think of this. There's this book that
Makes me
I read a
feel silly.
long time ago.
I feel judged.
Well, but to be fair, we also said we don't believe you for a second, because Gabe, the same thought Gabe had, I had.
I can't believe
Like
that.
you're all about sharing the Lord with people, and I think.
Your whole all you.
But anyway, but you can barbecue though if it makes you
There you
feel
go,
better
there
to
you
think you would barbecue
Yeah.
and hide. You can say that. But we're on my I reclaim my time, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, as a Christian, there's times I just sit there and think, man, I wish I had more time. Paul even talked about wishing you were all single like me so you could devote me, because taking on a wife is going to distract from your time with the Lord and this and that. Not that he was discouraging that by any means, but we're so distracted, especially here in America, by things in life, by our circumstances, that there are times I just think, God, I just wish I just had time to just go out and share the gospel. And I don't even know if I do it right, going out, just talking to people in the street, but letting them see a true, genuine love, the true, genuine love of Christ, as much as I can exude that. And just having the conversations. I read this book a long time ago called Don't Waste Your Life. And there's one story, I don't even hardly remember what the whole book, I don't even know if I completed it, maybe not. But there was this old man that got saved in this crusade. And he goes up, accepts the Lord and gets saved. And he's sitting there just crying and crying. And whoever it was that was given the crusade comes up to him and says, why are you crying? And this guy was like in his 80s. And he said, I've wasted my life. I should have came to Christ sooner. I should have been sharing the gospel, this and that. And so sometimes I feel like, man, am I doing that enough? So I feel like in that last week, knowing that was going to come, one, I would hope I don't have to know how I'm going to get murdered. I'd rather not know.
It's not know.
And, but I would hope that, one, I would spend a lot of time loving on people, sharing the gospel, but then also, selfishly, on the selfish side of things, my little girl, speaking of Mike, my little girl is actually Mike, who you were just talking about, that passed away and all that. It's actually his biological daughter.
Yeah. Which is neat.
And so I would definitely, I've got to get time.
And you talk about not wasting your life. I know that you don't think you did or have.
Right.
But I think about it and I'm like, interesting. Mike passed away, good friend of ours. And then God put you into Sadie's life to speak. And have you spoken to her? Do you tell her things?
Oh, yeah.
Do you help raise her up?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So you don't waste your time.
Right. Oh, no. But I do.
And all of us, I got to think on all of us, God moves in our lives to get things done. But anyway, continue.
I would just think there would be more of a sense of urgency in that week. Like, oh my gosh, I only have so much time to serve the Lord left.
Now you're not afraid of paying bills.
No. That would all be done.
You're not
afraid of going to work.
You're not going to work.
I'm not going to work.
You're not putting on airs for anybody.
Because I'm probably also not going to tell everybody that I'm getting ready to die in a week.
Yeah, they're just going to be going, dude, you need to get to work. I'm
not going to tell them.
I just say I'm taking a week off work.
I'm going to let everybody know I'm going to spend time with them the day before, the day before and throughout, whenever I'm not out witnessing. But I'm going to kind of set it as, hey, I'm taking this week off from work, because I don't want everybody's just going to be depressed and all this kind of stuff.
Or think you're flat and nuts.
Right.
I'll behold out, and I'm going to rebuild the temple in 3 days. Oh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Could you imagine could you imagine if as Christians, I think about Holy Week, like the world still knows and recognizes that this is the week of the Christian. But a lot of times, all we spend time doing is, hey, we're going to go to church on Sunday. We're going to invite some people we don't know. We're going to have pork and we're going to hunt Easter eggs. But could you imagine if the church as a whole said, hey, Holy Week is literally our week. And we did what you said, Hank. We showed up at shopping centers and we started sharing the gospel. Like there was this movement of the gospel being shared for the entire week. Because I think about the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Maybe next year we can do something like that. Like our crew go out.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of, the Jehovah's Witnesses have their worldwide or nationwide conference in Amarillo, Texas. This is where they host it. And it's a big deal. It's big for our economy and all that. But dude, when they're in town, because you know what they do during their time? They go scatter across Amarillo and door knock. And I'm like, they get it. Why don't we do that as Christians? Why ain't we showing up and like exercising our right to share the gospel, our obligation to share the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, you talked about, we all agree that we're going to invite some people over and we're going to talk to everybody. And so this is the second part of that question, thinking about what would you do your final week? But it's Thursday, the day before you're going to be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to invite some people over. And at this point, you know who's going to literally betray you. They're going to sell you, snitch you off, and they're the accessory to your murder. They're the linchpin to your murder.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get invited to your meal? Because they're part of your close circle. They're a good friend of yours. Been following you, been going to church with you, been hanging out with you. Now, this is your final week. Whoever that person is, fill in the blank. Do they get invited to the meal, the final meal where you're going to gather with everyone and you're going to even show them, hey, this is my final message. And if you want to be great, you've got to wash each other's feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to wash your feet. And I'm going to wash my accessory to murder's person's feet as well.
Funny. It's funny. My first thought was, no way. They might kill me prematurely. You know?
But your initial thought is no way.
No way.
No way. I'm not inviting that jerk to meal with me.
They're going to kill me? Nah, probably not.
But what does the scripture say Jesus did?
All the stuff you just said.
But then you have to ask why. So, and then I think that's because I would say, yeah, definitely not. Like, no, you ain't invited. No. I mean,
I don't think I want to see you until tomorrow.
Like I'm spending that time. I'm reserving
tomorrow.
that time to people that I love and close with. Like, yeah, that is my.
Maybe people who will pray over you.
Yeah.
You know, who will say, you know,
that's what the time
when,
is reserved.
when you get to heaven, tell God.
Maybe friends that are lost, even.
Tell friends, tell family, tell
right.
Can you take a message from, you know, you don't want to talk to the murderer,
betrayer. Yeah.
Most unloyal, unfriendly person you can think of is going to like end your life, like kill you.
Yeah. Or deliver you to the people that are going to kill you.
You know, the other night, I'm going to just jump in real quick. The other night we had an outage, or not an outage, that Excel Energy turned off our power for 24 hours. 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So that night, I was thinking about it, and they published it in the Amarillo newspaper, right? Mm-hmm. Bishop Hills is going to have no power along with Dimmitt and Perry.
It was like the only one in Amarillo. The only one in Amarillo.
Yes. I was like, why are you talking
and
to
y'all
us?
live in Bishop Hills.
Redheaded stepchild here.
Yep.
So so that night, first of all, it was dead silent in there. Oh, I need a fan to sleep, a box fan rolling. Well, anyway, I was worried. I'm like, I have 6 kids and a wife. And I'm like, if people read that in the paper, these little crooks out there they're gonna want to maybe target Bishop Hills and come try some stunt. So
it is an eerie, yeah. I get my guns.
It's eerie. It's pitch black. Bishop Hills was pitch black.
Yeah.
And so I went. I have a gun, but I don't like it. I have a 1911 Kimber 45 caliber pistol, and with hollow points.
It's a sweet pistol.
Oh yeah, it's a sweet pistol. It's powerful. I don't ever even want to look at it. It always gives me an eerie feeling. I don't like it. You know what I did?
We're different on that.
I went and got that little sucker. And I laid it on the floor next to me in bed, and I put a hoodie over it so that it wouldn't be obvious.
Yep.
And I was going.
You went full on dirty hair.
Yeah, at the thought that somebody might hurt or kill my family. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, if a murderer comes up in here, that was my approach.
You're not like, hey, yo, come to dinner.
No, I was not.
Hey, we're eating. Pull up a chair.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, if you step foot inside this house, I pull trigger.
And while you're at it, get those shoes off so I can start washing them feet.
Yeah, right. We'll talk after.
Yeah.
It was, and so in all honesty, just thinking about, that's as close as I can get to reality.
So clear. Okay. So is anybody here going to say yes?
No,
to that?
There's no way.
Being real about it.
I'm not going to be able to.
We know we're dying tomorrow. We know this is the betrayer. So then why? So that, I think that's what you have, because that's what we're coming around to. What's the purpose? Why did Christ do that? Because he knew it wasn't going to change his heart. He's Christ. Christ is Christ. He knows. Like he knows this is about to go down. This is what's going to happen. He knows, his final fate. So why did he do it?
Well, he said to show that if you're going to love people, and he gave the new commandment, if you're going to show people my love, you have to do it through the love you have with each other. Mm-hmm. And you do that by the washing. And he was going to demonstrate it by washing their feet. I love what Peter did. You can't wash my feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to. No. But if you
can't have any part in me
if you insist, then can you go ahead and wash my hands and my face and can you just give me a full on bath?
I'll love it.
Peter's like, all right, fine, go for it. You know what? Do it all.
Yeah, I mean, if you insist,
you know what's funny is when I was reading that the other day, I could just see Jesus chuckling at that.
Yeah,
just getting a kick out of Peter, like, calm down, Peter, calm down. Like Peter, okay, I'll go ahead and get the head. And
he's like, give me a mani and a petty.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. And I'm the progressive.
So that was the first pedicure. Yeah, that's the first pedicure ever. Was when Jesus washed. That was the first petty. A Jesus petty.
Miles, I hope you have your editing tool out right now.
That's hilarious.
So why? So why? So you think to show an example? Because just thinking about that, I'm like, okay, what's the why? Because you think like the scripture talks about, how you handle someone as being rough to you. It's being, Proverbs talks about showing kindness to them, responding with a soft spirit and a soft word. And it talks about heaping coals on their head, right? And the whole idea of that is that their soul will be convicted, that they'll be convicted, right?
Yeah.
But we know that's not what is going to happen with Judas. I mean, now he did seem to suffer some type of conviction when he went and turned back, but we know, he went on to kill himself and go where he went, head on his way to that place that shall not be named. Or hell.
Yeah.
But it's just a scary thought. It's just a scary thought. Like, man, convicted this and that. So we know that's what was happening to the brother, right? So why then? Why wash his feet? And
he still loved him.
That's what I think.
He still created him.
He loved him. It would be such a hard. I think one. It's a great example to the others that we're still going to go on and that we're about to go have the chore of spreading the gospel to the point of giving up their lives, right? Mm-hmm. So,
but look at it, 2,000 years later, we're still talking about it,
right? So, and an example to all of us, and then two, though, man, he created Judas.
Yeah,
God is love. Like, he had this deep love for him, and it's one of the last opportunities to get to love on him. Even though this dude...
What if your son did it?
Is about to go do
What if your son was the one who was going to murder you?
Yeah.
Or your daughter?
Yeah.
What if it was them and you had one last chance to tell them, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. Daddy loves you.
Yeah.
Still. You know what it makes me think of?
Yeah.
Silly. I hate the way my brain works sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know how we always talk about how the greatest movies stole their ideas from the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we talked about that. A lot of the greatest movies, they get their ideas from the Bible. Mm-hmm. Well, that part where Han Solo's son kills him. No. And he still loved him.
Oh gosh, man.
He still, and then he dies or whatever.
Mad.
Oh, I was too. I was like, "Are you kidding me, Han Solo?" But yeah, he still reached up and touched his face. I was like,
he was,
It was deep. It was real. You love your son or your daughter through and through. And I know Jesus loved Judas through and through, even though he was the tool
probably
of his betrayal.
So it's just a very selfless thing. Even though I'm not going to get the results that I'm looking for with you.
It doesn't change that I love you.
Like, that's where our hearts are expected to be. And that's obviously where Christ was. He prayed for the forgiveness of the people that crucified him. So this opportunity to love on this lost soul that's staring him right in the face.
Yeah.
And then Judas had the gall to be like, because he predicts somebody here is going to betray me. And Judas is like, is it me? Is it me?
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
Well, that's kind of like the little you Christmas story. That kid's tongue is stuck to the pole, and somebody, they want the confession. Hey, bring him back into class, and the teacher wants the confession, and little Ralphie looks around the room like, yeah, one of y'all should feel guilty about this. Judas is like,
yeah.
one of you guys, one of, yeah,
like,
right.
Well, yeah.
And then Jesus' response, which is bone chilling to me.
Man.
You know, he who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me. The Son of Man indeed goes just as the written of him. But woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Basically, it would have been better that you had not be born.
Jeez. Ugh. I mean, that is just eerie.
Well, because people say, what do you think happened to Judas when he died? I mean,
We know what happened.
it's pretty clear, like the deal was done.
It's
Like,
in the Bible.
you'd have been better off not being born, bro.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. I mean, you know, and
Why do I always forget that? I always forget that part. That's true. We know exactly. Jesus, like it's not gonna.
Well, it's almost like he didn't even get the opportunity to stand before God for his judgment. He got it right then.
Right then.
well, you
Like,
know,
I'm going to go
that
kill
really
myself
speaks
because I'm
to
not going to. It's just not going to end
the
well.
idea of universalism and that you go to hell or
powerful.
you go to heaven no matter what faith you have.
Oh,
and
no,
no
you
matter
do
all
not.
this kind of, no matter what you do, there's going to be a chance for recompense and all that kind of stuff. I mean, now
I got a
I mean,
controversial.
you don't make a comment that it would be better for you had you not been born.
I don't know if this is controversial, but
in heaven, it's just a
I'll start with this. I believe everyone that dies goes to heaven.
Yeah, for a second.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For a second,
Yeah, they do.
everybody
but
gets to go,
You'll see what's.
but not everybody gets to stay. Not everybody has a reservation confirmed.
yeah. You have to go before the judgment at some point. Yeah.
And it's powerful and it's neat. That's why.
Mr. Moses, I don't see a reservation.
Keep looking.
No, keep looking. I booked it. It's booked.
Keep looking.
Nope.
Nope.
We don't have one
Nope.
for you.
Why are you looking at me when you say
I don't know. Mr. Moses, either one of
Yeah,
you.
you can look at Henry.
Or Mr. Moreland. I don't care. I'm not trying to mess with. That's like, I'm not joking. I don't want to be joking about that. We joke about a lot of things.
I apologize. You can have your barbecue, Jared.
And it does.
Well, that's what I'm doing on
I'm
Thursday.
grateful that you're not the one in the judgment seat.
Yeah.
It does go back to when I was young. My desire to go to heaven was driven by almost the fear of not going to hell. That's
Right,
really
right.
what
Yeah.
it was. I don't want to burn.
But
For the rest of my
the fear of the
life.
Lord is the
And
beginning
so-
of wisdom. I think that's how it
Sure,
starts.
that's a good
That's
point.
how it starts.
So
isn't
it does have to
Yeah.
start that way. His
Yeah.
power. He has
I
the
don't want to burn.
authority to tell you where you will go, and you don't have a say so. And that's how I raise my kids too. I love it.
Yeah.
They say this and that, and I say I don't have to entertain your argument
Yeah.
at all. And it's with a complete authority. I'm like it is what it is. But also then later came the realization that no, it's what would be worse, infinitely worse. It really would be the idea that you'll never be with me. That was where I realized,
That
and I
is
was in my
pure hell.
late
Yeah.
teens. I was like, Dad bamboozled me. He made it seem like it was just the idea of burning, but it's really, you will not see your creator.
You know, to go along
will
with
not
that,
spend
we get a
time with
little
him.
taste of that right here, because I was thinking about it, man. Being a Republican, I'm a Republican, although I don't. Not saying I fully agree with everything the Republican Party says, blah blah blah. I don't want to do all that, but what I will say is in this time we live in now, if you're a liberal Democrat, you're just soaking up the sun. I mean, just about all the policies are going in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really don't feel much stress because everything seems to be going the way you want it to go for the most part, right?
Yeah.
As a Christian Republican, if you truly have faith in the Lord, even though it seems like hardly anything's going along policy wise, and the law of the land, like we can still have this supernatural peace that surpasses all kinds of understanding, because it doesn't seem like we should have peace at all. But man, as a child of God, I walk in peace on a consistent basis.
Okay,
Not
so-
because of me, but because of what I know my eternity, where it lies, the worst they can do is torture us and do all this crazy stuff to us now, but then it's eternity.
So now let's quote a movie.
And Holy Week is what brought us to that, to be able to have that piece of what Jesus did for us.
And so let me finish this
Okay.
thought real quick.
Yep.
To be a Republican that doesn't have faith in God, that doesn't have relationship with God, that's a scary, I kind of compare that to, that's kind of almost like hell without relationship with the Lord,
Oh, having to live in this
everything's
world.
going.
I was trying to follow
what
you.
you're- Yes,
Like
everything's
having to live in this world with
as a
other
Republican
rules
without-
under the rules of
Yes.
the other party.
a Republican without faith in God. Yes, under where it seems like nothing's going for you. That seems like the scariest position to be in
Yeah,
right now.
you're
And that's kind of, and why? Because they don't have that relationship with the Lord. They are absent from the presence of God. And that is that really is like a cold, dark, just eternity. And it's going to be eternity that way.
It is. That's a good way to put it. And I
know, that's why I said it.
oh gosh, sometimes Jared, I'm so glad you're here.
Well, I was gonna sidetrack on that because that you painted such a great picture, and in our discussion this week, Miles even went a step further and said, "Could you imagine? Have you ever thought about the outside the door of the ark?" Mm-hmm. And when the door shuts, all the people standing outside. And I think about you saying the Republican non-Christian, that's our neighbor, that's our close friends that are standing on the other side.
Yeah.
That's such an eerie thought of it's too late. The rapture happens. It's too late at that point. You're done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Too late is a thing that hits almost anybody in the chest.
Too late could be now.
It could be now. What does that mean?
Meaning we're not guaranteed we have more time.
Right.
So coming back around full circle, Gabe, did you
A movie
your
quote
thought on that?
One little thought to and wrap up how this part of it. But just thinking about, we quote all the movies, that movie Risen, to me, it had one of the best lines of cinematic history. That the Roman leader,
watch that this weekend.
He pulls in, he's investigating people and he's threatening people. And do you recognize I can kill you right now? I can have you beheaded or burned at this, whatever. And he's doing that to some of them, but these people have already received the spirit of Jesus. Jesus has already died and been risen, and he is trying to investigate this thing and with complete authority and freedom to do what he wills with anybody. But he brings that one lady in who used to be a prostitute and a whore. And he's trying to it's what it is. That's what it was, no way around it. So he's telling her all this stuff, and he's threatening her and tell me where he is. And he's doing all this threatening and stuff, and she just looks, and she said, he says, I can imprison you. That's what it was. He says, I can imprison you for the rest of your life. And she goes, it doesn't matter. I'm already free.
She just has this,
I'm already free.
Yeah.
And she has this look on her face that he is confused by.
Yeah.
Because she knows, she understands now what it is to walk with God, and the hardship of this planet, this earth, that is just really difficult, has no relevance because of Jesus and the freedom that he gave us simple little humans that nobody can dictate. It doesn't matter which party is in charge. It doesn't matter if people hate Christians or love them or what. It doesn't matter. Jesus came, died, and was risen. And because of that, there's nothing you can do.
Well, as we're recording this on Good Friday. I mean, we know why it's good because of what Jesus did for us, but I'm like, it's kind of weird that we call it Good Friday because
I know
it's such a bad day from what happened to our Savior and how he was murdered. But as we're almost out of time, but wanted to get to Good Friday because it is Friday.
Before you, did you finish? What can I just ask you a quick question first
Sure.
before we? What was your thought process? Because you were the one that came up with that question. So the idea of washing the enemy, the guys, what was your thought process on that? Like what? Because you didn't really speak to that a whole lot. We kind of dove into the conversation of it.
Well, I think of the scripture talks about blessing those who persecute you or curse you or whatever. And there's just the most way to express humility and service and love when I think of washing someone's feet. Because for me personally, I hate feet. Disgusting. I think it's nasty. Yeah. And so for that to be the thing, and I'm just like, to take the person that's going to murder me and love them, serve them, wash their feet, and let them eat at the table with my most loyal followers is just, it just blows my mind.
You know what I just thought of? Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
Yeah, that
Psalm 23.
We just did a study on Psalm 23. That's a whole nother discussion. Why is your table before your enemies? It's called "Don't Give an Enemy a Seat at Your Table." It's phenomenal. But yeah, prepare the table before our enemies. So
he did do that. David came before. He was the son of David, right?
Yeah,
that's just interesting. That just hit me with that.
So that's what just hit me about the washing of the feet, is just taking the person that you probably despise at this point because you know they're going to betray you, and in your final week, on the eve of your murder, hey, I know you're going to betray me, and you probably be better off if you weren't born, but let me serve you a biscuit.
Well, I heard words.
I know.
Yeah, but it'd be better off.
It's in a very nice. Probably Judas would be better off if you weren't born,
but let me wash your feet and love you, because that's what I do and that's who I am, and that's my final message to my people is, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how betrayed you feel, don't quit loving, serving, and washing the feet of all.
Yeah, it's not about you.
I want to throw one more. I know we're short on time, but Carrie, my wife she was struggling this morning. She's good, but she was struggling because so many things, challenges at work and home and friends of hers and just different things came against her. And she just was sitting there crying. But before I came over here, and she just said, I'm exhausted. I just don't know if I want to keep on fighting this hard. And it was that moment where you go, and now I'm gonna be your faithful partner in this life and tell you that you are fighting the good fight. God will restore you, and I'm proud of you, and I'm your fellow soldier. But it is
it's hard to draw comfort from. Well, I'm building up treasures in heaven. It's
just exhausting.
There's something waiting for me in heaven, but it's like, man, I'm just done.
We've already got our treasure.
Yeah,
we have our treasure.
There's the truth.
If we lose it, which is human, that's why we talked in our little group chat earlier. We were talking. I kind of brought up having to take up your cross daily. It just refocus every single day,
daily,
and
every
on
day.
Where it should, that the fact that we do already have our prize. Yes, we're getting those to lay at the feet of Christ, but man, we have our prize. That's what this week is all about, man.
That's what he did.
What better?
We already
gift?
have our prize.
My gosh.
Yeah, we have to get our focus off of ourselves. And as Jesus was facing the court and Pontius Pilate's trying to save his life and even washes his hands of it, he tries one last time, and he says in John 19, Pilate said to them, "Shall I really crucify your king?" And the chief priests said, "We have no king but Caesar." And so they took him away. And I'm like, man, let's not get into that mindset of, because today I think the way that would read is, I have no king but I or me, because there's such a distaste for God and Christianity and even government. People hate the government, they hate God, they hate Christ, but they love themselves. They're lovers of themselves. And just like you said, take up your cross daily. It has to be about someone other than ourselves. It has to be about Jesus. And they take him away and they crucify him. I mean, Pontius Pilate tries to get him to answer for himself, and he just like, nope, I've got to do this. It's got to be finished.
Oh, so powerful. The most powerful things you've ever read. He's like, nope, I'm not. He's like, I can let you free. No, you actually can't. You only have the power which my Father in heaven gives you.
And then when he's hanging on the cross and, he says he's thirsty and they poured juice in his mouth so he can say, it is finished. And that's how it ends today.
Yeah, you know what? You know what the good news is? It is finished.
It is finished.
It's done.
My debt was due, and he stepped in and paid it. That's crazy.
You know what else is finished? This podcast.
This podcast. That is.
Let's pray.
All right.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your gift to us. We thank you that you remind us at this time every year, Father, that we should be reminded daily, but we're grateful for this opportunity to celebrate the sacrifice you made that we just don't deserve. Please help us to bring that to remembrance on a daily basis so we can better serve you. We love you and better serve those that you put in our paths, Father. We love you and we worship you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Go ye into all the world
And preach the gospel. Amen.
All this Easter bunny stuff, we be rabbit
But I'm the
trailing a
end
lot.
boss.